This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, you're encouraged to like and share them on Facebook. It's time now for the African American Scene, brought to you by Howard Insurance of Port St. Lucie and hosted by Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. I have a special treat for you tonight. If you've been a fan of my show for some years, you recall some years back, I had a group of students that was on their way to college, and I wanted you to meet them because I wanted you to meet some positive young black men doing some very positive things in the community, and we kind of followed them for a couple of years. Well, I got a new set of guys tonight, and we're going to follow them. I told them at the outset, part of the deal is when they come home on break, they have to come see me, give me some good stories, and give me a good laugh, because that's part of what this is all about, and share some of their experience. And I'm going to introduce you. Kemarcus, we have Kemarcus. He's going to school in Arkansas. And we have Tariq. And Tariq is going to school where at?
Ohio.
Come on.
Ohio.
Okay. What's the name of your school in Ohio?
Marietta.
Okay.
College.
And we have Miles, who's already in school. He's the one guy that's already in school, so we're going to get a perspective from him. And Miles, you go to school where?
FAMU.
Okay. And Javante. And you're going
To Bethune.
Bethune. So we got it pretty much covered here. We got Bethune and FAM and Ohio and Arkansas. So how about that? So if you have questions for my guests, please feel free to call up and ask any questions that you may have. So how big of a deal was it when you walked across that stage and they gave you your diploma? How'd that feel?
I guess I was just happy. At that point, I feel like I was proud of myself. I was happy. I feel like I had accomplished something. It felt real good just to know that I had put in all this work for all these years, and it finally amounted to this diploma that said I did it.
Yeah. So what about the rest of you? What'd you think? Tariq, tell me, how'd it feel?
I'm looking forward to graduation. I think it'll be like all I'm thinking about, like just sign of relief. Like I did it. It's over with. Started a new life.
When is graduation?
May 25th.
May 25th. Okay. That was, I recall that was, although me and my dad ended up not speaking on the day of my graduation because we were fighting about what I had to wear at the graduation. But other than that, so tell me, when do you leave to go to school?
August 10th.
August 10th for you?
Yes, sir.
I usually go August 9th.
August 9th?
And I'm going August 13th.
August 13th?
Yes, sir.
And Miles, you go back when?
I'm not sure the exact date, but it's sometime in August.
Okay. But you're not sure of what date?
Yeah, the exact date, but it's like around the second week of August.
Okay. So all of you basically are going about the same time. That's pretty interesting. Okay. Now, everybody's going to HBCU except for Tariq. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Did you think about the idea of going to an HBCU?
Yes, sir, I did. Like, if sports didn't work out, then I was going to go to a HBCU.
Okay, so your decision was based on what you were able to get as far as scholarship and your sports is concerned.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Now, we have Terry on line one. Yes, Terry.
Yeah, I would like to talk to one of the boys. I'm not a racist, but what does either one of them think of the Second Amendment? What do you think it's a well-regulated militia? I'll tell you what I think. There's 5 houses on the same block with maybe 40, 50 people. I want the cars outside painted in a military way. And I want to lock up for guns. Now, what do they think?
What you're asking them what they think about the Second Amendment?
Of everybody to get a gun has to be in a well, and I don't know who regulates them, a well-regulated militia to have a gun in America. What do they think? You gotta have an opinion.
Do you guys have an opinion about the Second Amendment? The Second Amendment?
Person, I believe you should be allowed to have your guns with certain regulations. I don't think just anybody should be able to have a gun. You know, you should have to go through a process to be able to get one. I don't know exactly what that process is. That's up to, the people that make the laws and whatnot, but there should be a process that you got to go through to get a gun.
Okay.
I think that's a good opinion, and I'll go ahead and hang up. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Terry. That was interesting. Anybody else have an opinion about that? That's a pretty hot topic right now.
I think they hold guns to such a high standard in the country. Because, like, I had just seen this video where they care more about guns and the rights of having guns more than life itself. So, the type of gun violence, like, to a certain point, most definitely something needs to be done about it, but what would you say?
I believe that a person has the right to protect his home and his family. I do not believe that there is a need for anybody to have an AK-15, AK-47, or AR-15, or a clip that can shoot 12 rounds with a single pull of a trigger. I just don't think that's necessary. I'm not opposed to people have rifles that want to go hunting. I have friends that hunt, and I myself on occasion go to the shooting range, but AR-15s to me just I see no point in having a weapon like that. That's just my opinion. Since you asked me. Okay. So, any special plans after graduation? Are you going to go away for a few days, or you and your buddies? I know when we graduated, there was 3 or 4 of us. We went to Atlantic City for the weekend. That was our high school getaway. You guys got any plans?
I'm gonna be like a lot of places this summer. First, I'm gonna be in Arizona for like 5 days on a retreat. Then I get to go over to a trip to Australia. That'll be my first time going there.
What kind of retreat?
Cancer retreat.
Cancer retreat?
To meet other teenagers and young adults that went through cancer.
Okay. So you're a cancer survivor?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool. How long ago?
Recently, junior year.
Okay. Okay. And then you're going to Australia?
Yep.
All right.
And then top it all off, I go to South Carolina for a family reunion. So before going to college.
Okay, cool. Me and my missus are going to South Carolina in 2 weeks. We're going to Myrtle Beach for about 5 days and do nothing, you know. But I am going to play some golf, though. And we got Carol on line one. Hey, Carol, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Rudy?
Okay.
Congratulations, gentlemen. I don't know you, but I'm still proud of you. Rudy, I gotta caution you. I've warned you before. Don't misrepresent facts. Automatic, as in completely automatic, anything are illegal already in the country.
That's correct.
AR-15s do not shoot that many rounds with a single pull. They don't. You have to continue to pull. It will chamber and put another one in, and then you have to pull again. Just pointing that out. But my question for the gentleman is...
Okay, Carol, wait, let me answer that question.
Okay.
You're correct about the AR-15 and AK-47, except I also talked about large capacity
I get it, but you can get
Okay.
around that by taping them together anyway.
Okay, right.
So the amount doesn't make that much difference.
Okay, but I pride myself on not exaggerating like some others do.
It
So-
sounded misleading. That's why
Okay, all right.
why I wanted to clarify for
Okay.
you. But for the gentleman there, some might be interested in history and politics and have really thoroughly studied some of the amendments. And in today's schools, I doubt it. But my question is, when they went to choose what they wanted to do for college, not which college they're going to, but like we mentioned the idea of basket weaving or English might not be beneficial in today's age. So I'd like to know how these gentlemen selected what they are planning to study, what they plan to do when they get out, and if anyone encouraged them along the way, aside from just the school guidance counselors, that some are better than others. But was there somebody or a group of somebodies who helped them try to design a career, which may change along the way, but if they don't have an actual passion for something, was there somebody who helped them select a potential career that they're shooting for? That's my question. And again, congratulations, gentlemen.
I think that's a great question. We talked a little bit about that before we came on. But let's start right there with Devontae. How do you answer that question? Javante.
You would just have to find something you like to do. Just waking up every day, going to a job, just finding something that you have a passion for. I mean, everybody have a different passion. You gotta just go with what you know or what you like.
I think what Carol's trying to find out, and Carol's one of my really intellectual callers, and she asks good questions, is how did you decide? Now, I happen to know, because we were talking beforehand, that you want to do business administration. Where did that thought come from?
It just came from, I mean, it's a lot of business jobs in the world. I just want to just see what I can do. I'm not really sure yet.
Okay, so you still have some uncertainty.
Yes, sir.
Miles, talk to us. And Miles is the one member of my panel who just completed his first year of college, just to remind you.
When I was first going to college, I decided where I wanted to go first, and then after that I looked at what programs they offered, and then I guess the pharmacy was the first thing that stuck out to me in my head, like when I was looking over the programs that FAMU had. So when I saw pharmacy, I was like, yeah, that looked pretty cool. That looked like I can do something like that, because I always knew that I wanted to do something in the medical field. I was never 100% sure what it was, but I knew I was going to have to do something with the medical field because a lot of my family, both my parents are in the medical field, so that just came naturally to me. But at the end of the day, it just came down to deciding what I could see myself doing for a long time. So at the end of the day, I started out with pharmacy, but now I'm thinking about changing it to nursing because I can see myself more in like a nursing hands-on type of position, working like directly with people. So I guess for me, that's where that came from.
Tariq?
I picked computer science because like I like working with computers and stuff. I really want to be like an IT tech, so like I'm good with working with computers and fixing stuff like that. So like I narrowed it down to like what really fit me, and I think like that fit me the best. So I just went with it. And
Did anybody help you with that decision, or is
my mom, like, she really like narrowed all the stuff down. Like, do this sound like you? And I'm like, yeah, this sound like me. And that was really it.
Yeah. You know, you guys are really blessed to have the parents that you have. I happen to know your parents. So often, kids don't have parents that help them make those decisions. And boy, I'll tell you what, when you're 18 years old and you're trying to figure out what the heck you're going to do for the next 40 years, that's a pretty daunting task. So tell me, what about yourself? How did you?
Well, I've always wanted to be an architect ever since I was younger, but come back on the fact that I was a cancer survivor recently, going down that road, I found like a passion on, or I looked around the people who used to give me my chemotherapy and all that, and saw what they did, and they enjoyed it, and it seemed like something I can give back to, like, so that's how I'm in the middle between architecture and biology or pre-med, going down the medical field. So,
If you don't mind sharing, what kind of cancer did you have?
desmoid fibromatosis tumor in my right leg.
Okay. That's a tribute to you, my friend. That's for sure. Okay, so I guess you guys answered Carol's question about how you got into your careers. You know, it is probably next to getting married, one of the bigger decisions you're going to have to make. Cliff, they're laughing. They think that's funny. Yeah.
They won't be laughing in a couple years.
Going with the flow.
Miles think we going with the flow, huh? Hey, listen, man, let me tell you something. I don't care how big a player you are, but sometime that lady gets you and she puts the bee sting on you, and when she put that bee sting on you, boy, you lose your mind.
No, wait a minute. Rudy.
You can't sleep.
You can't tell young men this. Because you know what every young man says in his heart? Not me.
You can't sleep. You be, oh, Lord. Yeah, oh, yeah. We all been down that road there. So now it's interesting. Of all the people that responded about school, Miles said he picked the school first, then the subject. Interesting. Everybody else kind of picked the subject, then the school. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, you can say that. Because I've done my research on going to a school that had architecture, so if they didn't have architecture, I just chopped them off my block.
Okay. Interesting. So now, I have to tell you that as a freshman, you have to learn the do's and don'ts and the ins and outs, and defining your way around campus and all that kind of good stuff. What teachers to take, what teachers not to take, and all that kind of good stuff. So has anybody started talking to you about some of that yet? No? Now, Tariq's got a brother at Duquesne. Has he talked to you at all about school?
Like if I ask him, he'll tell me like how it is. But I've been up there with him. I know how it is, and like basically, I know what to expect.
So you spent some time up there with him.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you enjoy spending time up there with him?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Now, when you were up there, did you guys go see Ryan?
Like every now and then, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. In case you guys didn't know, as some of you have been listening to me a long time, you know, my pastor's son is Ryan Shazier. And for those of you that are Pittsburgh Steelers fans, that was number 50. He was the number 15 pick in the 2014 draft, I believe it was. And he is undergoing a back surgery, and he's on his way back. So now Tariq's brother, Nahari, who also grew up in the church here with us, has, when he being in Duquesne up in Pittsburgh, spends a lot of time with Ryan, and I guess they have a pretty good relationship at this point.
Yeah.
So Miles, what about your brothers? Are they talking about where they thinking they want to go?
My brother, recently I heard him was saying he got a letter from the coach at Stetson to come to their junior day for football. So, to be honest, what he's saying, he wants to go anywhere he can play football. Right now, that's what he's been talking about. So
Okay, so he wants to play football.
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't play sports in high school?
I played basketball in high school.
Uh-huh.
Up until 9th through 12th grade, yeah.
You didn't matter, though, when you was picking the school?
No, as far as sports, no, I knew that sports in college I didn't really want to, do that. Basically, sports for me was more fun. It wasn't really like too serious for me. It was more academic for me. So that's where the biggest weighter in my decision was, not really like the sports teams and stuff like that.
Okay. So we're going to.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
The beach.
Now back to the African American scene. Once again, here's your host, Rudy Howard.
Now, one of the things I recall when they had Parent Visitation Day my freshman year. Did you guys have the Parent Visitation Day in your freshman year?
Yeah, they had a family weekend. It was like the 3rd or 4th week of school. They had like a family weekend where everybody family came.
I know for me, I was kind of distracted. I think my dad's feelings got hurt, but I mean, it was so much new stuff going on, and I won't even tell you about all the other stuff going on. And we have Carol again. Yes, Carol.
Hey, I do listen. I've got a follow-up question for the gentleman who was torn between doing something in the medical field
Yes.
because of his cancer, and I'm glad he survived that. Or did he say architecture?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I was going to suggest to you that if your school, and I'm guessing it does, covers both types of degrees, you might want to take a look especially at the core classes, like your maths and your biology and physics and things like that. A lot of them between engineering and medical field are going to be similar, are going to be the same. If you go toward more of the medical, you're going to take more of the chemistries. If you're going toward the architecture, you're going to need to take more of the physics type things because you're going for a semi-engineering degree. But when you're taking architecture, you might also need drafting. I'm wondering if you ever had a drafting course?
Yeah, I'm in a drafting course right now. I've been in one since last year.
Okay, because that can help you identify. And the other thing is every year they have certain things they recommend depending on your degrees, but they also give you room for some electives, and I was going to suggest that you try to narrow down on those courses that are exactly the same, because some are going to be, and then here and there alternate some of your electives so that it can help you develop yourself before you narrow in and then find you chose wrong. Because that's something I never did, and eventually I went back and did that, and I realized, and it was something nobody ever helped me with. I didn't know if somebody had suggested that to you or not, as a way to help you narrow in, because a lot of the courses are going to be exactly the same.
Well, he had talked about potentially doing engineering too. He didn't say that a few minutes ago, but
Right.
before we came on air, he talked about that. So he's kind of thinking along the same lines that you're thinking.
Yeah, because when you go into architecture, you're going to take some of the same courses. And another alternative is bioengineering. You know, where you're working toward developing the medicines rather than working on treating someone with the medicines. And that may be along the lines. And if you aim that way, I'm sure even if you choose later on not to, it's going to be a good skill to have, and somebody would probably hire you in a lot of areas if you had that. So that was it.
Thank you, Carol.
Alrighty, bye.
I think she gave you some good solid advice there. Do you think that was helpful?
I wonder if she's a guidance counselor.
I think she was. I think
I'll bet she's got a
Carol
little background,
was in education. She intimated to me a couple of shows ago that she was in education for some period of time. Yeah, but that was I thought she gave you some pretty good sage advice there.
Yeah, that's something I can use.
Yeah,
I
good.
appreciate that.
Yeah. I got some great listeners, man. They're smart, and they try to keep me on my toes too. So now we talked about this, but you told me about what you're doing when you're the end of your school year. Tariq, what's your plan for the end of the school year?
Really, I don't really have no like set plan. So like until I leave, I'm just chill and just chill. Like, yeah.
Just chill. You and Devontae just chilling.
Like I'm gonna go places, but like I don't really have no set. Like I'm going out of state or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just in town until I leave.
Yeah.
Living up the moment.
Yeah, a couple parties come along here and there,
like
you
stuff
know.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, check it out, you know. See some old friends that's still around here.
Yeah. So like, yeah.
Yeah, all right, okay. Now, I would have to say to you, how was your high school experience overall?
It was good. Like, it started off, well, I didn't really know what to expect coming from middle school and going to the high school. So I started off like kind of bad in my freshman year, but I had to get my head on straight, and then now I'm ready. Like, I had to prepare for a change and adapt to the high school level. But overall, it was a good experience, and if I were to change something, I would just go back and like focus harder freshman year, because that's the most important year. That's an important year to think about.
What about you? What was your high school experience like?
My experience, it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it. From being at Central to being at Port St. Lucie High, I enjoyed both schools.
What was the biggest difference between the two?
Port St. Lucie High is more laid back, like no dress code. The teachers are more lenient. You know, teacher at Central is strict. You know, you can get in trouble for having your shirt untucked there. So, I mean, but yeah, both schools had their advantages and disadvantages equally. I can say that.
Okay. Devontae, what was your experience?
it was a good long experience. I learned a lot about like just staying on top of your work, always doing work on time, and I just really from freshman to senior year just gained more focus and work. And now I'm graduating with honors, so I feel accomplished. I'm just ready to get out.
I think that's super. What about you, Miles?
My high school experience, my high school experience was I'm gonna say fun. It was good, cause I went to Lincoln Park, so from 6th grade to 12th grade, I was at the same school with pretty much all the same people. So everybody in our class, it was only like 200 of us, so it was pretty, everybody knew each other. It was a tight-knit class, so by the time we graduated, everybody was friends. So that was pretty good. Like, everybody after we graduated still kind of keep in contact and figure out, like, what everybody doing and stuff like that. When everybody's in town, we get together. So it's like I made a lot of friends. It was a good experience.
Yeah. Trevor had a chance to go to Lincoln Park, and my wife really wanted him to go, and he also had a chance to do dual enrollment. I didn't let him do either one. And boy, I'll tell you what, I can hear your mother now. She would have been fighting with me from the beginning to the end about that. But he played football. And I said, honey, he's only going to be a kid one time, and he loves football. You got to let him. You got to let him play football. He's got the rest of his life to work and do things. If this is important, let him have that experience. And you know what? Maybe he could have done some different things. Maybe dual enrollment might have pushed him harder toward an academic path. But I'm glad that I allowed him to have that experience of being on a football team, because that was important to him, to be part of that group. And they had a really successful football team there at Treasure Coast. So, any regrets? You guys asked me that before, and I'm asking you. You got any regrets?
As far as like in high school, or as far as what? Like
high school.
Regrets as far as high school. Let me think. I don't want to get myself in trouble or nothing. But let me think. I don't know. It just probably like certain classes where I got a B and I knew I could have got that A if I would have worked a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Looking back, probably put in that extra, stay up that one extra hour to study for that test, do that one extra credit assignment. It's kind of those things, like, looking back.
Yeah.
But I don't want to really say I have regrets, but, looking back, if I could change something, that's what I would have changed.
Yeah. What about you guys? Same thing?
Same thing.
Yeah. Hey, I already admitted to you guys, same thing for me, too. I could have done a lot better than I ended up doing, and I know that now. But so if everything goes according to plan, tell me what you think your first year experience is going to be like. Do you have a vision of what to expect?
Meeting new people, and just seeing how you can survive on your own without mom and whoever supports you, and just really just doing it for your family.
Hey, and let me tell you something. We're sitting here laughing about it. Have you ever washed clothes?
Yes, sir.
You have?
Yes, sir.
Well, good. Because there's guys that have never washed clothes.
Nah, for real.
Tariq never washed clothes.
Oh, no, I wash clothes sometimes.
Oh, wait. Hey, wait. We put that qualifier in there. Sometimes.
Not every day now. That ain't me.
Hey, so now you gonna get in that situation when you down to your last pair of drawers.
Well, yeah.
You gonna learn how to work that washing machine.
Yeah.
You start flipping drawers inside out.
You down to that last pair of drawers, and you gonna say, "Oh, I got to run down to that."
Wash it in the sink if you have it. You gonna figure out how to wash it.
Yeah. So, do they allow you to have any kind of? Well, I know when I was coming along, the big thing was hot plates, and they outlawed hot plates because they were so dangerous. But everybody's got a darn microwave now, I guess, in school.
Yeah, no, you can have microwaves, but it was no like hot plates, candles, no stuff like that. It wasn't no open flames or anything. Like that. But you have a microwave and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No toaster or nothing like that. But.
Yeah. Well, darn, you can almost microwave everything now. You can almost buy anything that you can microwave, for sure. Did you eat at the cafeteria most of the time?
Yeah, I was eating at the cafeteria a lot. It was at FAMU. It's two different cafeterias. It's an upstairs cafeteria and a downstairs cafeteria, and then it's a food court that you can go to. But with the meal plan, the cafeteria, it was all right. You know, it had its days where it wasn't really nothing in there to eat. You'll walk in there, turn right back around. But other than that, it was, it was enough to survive off of for sure. It might not have always been what you wanted to eat, but it was something to put in your stomach.
Yeah, well, I've been in the downstairs part. The downstairs part, that's where they got the burgers and the salads and the
they got like pizza,
yeah, right.
Tropical smoothie, Taco Tuesday, all of that.
Yeah.
But that costs, that costs the flex bucks.
Yeah.
Everybody don't have the flex bucks. You got to use those there. That's a special occasion. You only use those on Fridays. You're trying to impress a girl. You take a swiper at the bottom calf or something. You don't use those flex bucks all the time. Special occasion.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, do they have movies? They have movies on campus too, don't they?
Oh yeah, they have like special events. They got like they do movies sometimes. They have a bowling alley that you can go and bowl at. There's a bunch of different like on-campus activities. Plenty of intramural sports. Got rock climbing and stuff. So it's always something to do, like to keep your time occupied.
None of you thought about going to Florida State or UCF or? No.
I mean, I got accepted into Florida State, but it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't really like in my like top schools that I wanted to go to.
What was your top schools?
My first it was Florida Gulf Coast that I wanted to go to, and then after that it was FAMU, and then I never really got past my second option. Once I got accepted into FAMU and the program that I wanted to get into, I was kind of like, I'm going there.
Okay. How about you, Devontae? What was your?
Well, my first choice was FAMU, and then my second choice was BCU. Then I just never really, like he said, never really got from my second choice.
Okay, Tariq.
I was gonna go to FIU or FAMU, and then this came along, so now I'm going to Ohio.
What a dramatic change from FIU, Miami to Ohio.
Yeah, it's far, but
at the end of the day, that might work out okay, to tell you the truth. Being in Miami,
Might be a lot of stuff going on.
Might have been a little too fast.
Yeah. I as I'm sitting here thinking about me at FAU when I was 19, that might have been ugly. that might have been ugly for me to be there. Yeah, so that's.
Sometimes you gotta go see that cold.
Yeah.
Tallahassee get cold sometimes, but it don't be like it be Florida cold in Tallahassee. Like it be cold to only people from Florida. Like it was people from other places that would walk around in shorts. It was 50 and I was in the jacket with the fur on it. You know?
Yeah.
So it was kind of different for me with the cold, but everybody else didn't seem too phased by it.
Hey, let me tell you something. I went to school in Massachusetts. I've seen snow that high. I have been snowed in the dorm where you couldn't get out, you couldn't drive your car because the car was plowed in. Nah. And then here's the real clunker for you. I started my career after I got out of school up there. And like every kid on the planet, your first car is a clunker. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got a clunker that just helps you get from point A to point B.
It's happy to drive.
Just right.
Happy to drive.
But you get a new set of challenges when you're up there. This is why Cliff's over there laughing, because when you have one of them clunkers, the doors freeze. So your locks freeze, and sometimes you have to go inside and boil a pot of water to get and throw it on your door so you can get in your car. And sometime after you get your car door open, you can't close it because the lock is frozen in the spot, and you got to hold it while you try to get to where you're getting to. Right, Cliff?
You gotta really want to go somewhere.
Oh, well, listen. When you're up there, it ain't like here. I have been to parties in 5 inches of snow, riding down the Mass Turnpike. If it snows 2 or 3 inches here, everything in the world would shut down.
Man, it's no one snowflake. I'm like,
One snowflake. As soon as I feel it.
Yeah, oh, not up there, man. I went through plenty of parties, 4 or 5 inches of snow. That was no big deal.
60 my limit.
Yeah?
Yeah. As soon as it get below 60, you start seeing your breath.
You know what I'm saying? It's out of
It start changing.
Yeah. So let's see now. Everybody's going in August, and your first break will be when?
Christmas or
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you might not be able to come home.
Nah, that Arkansas kind of strong.
Huh?
Him?
Arkansas.
Why not?
Basketball practice.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might not be able to come home. I'll tell you a funny story. This will make you laugh. I made the basketball team, right? So, like every other kid in the world, I thought I was on my way to the NBA. And whenever I wasn't playing, I thought it was the coach that was being unfair, blah, blah, blah. So it was coming up toward Thanksgiving, and I had made the team, but I wasn't playing. So I called my father, and I said, I'm coming home. He said, why? How you gonna come home? He said, you got practice. I said, oh, heck with it. I'm not playing, so I'm coming home anyway. He said, well, I don't know what you're going to do when you come home because I ain't going to let you in. I said, you're not going to let me in? He said, no. You made the team. You stick out your commitment, and you stay there.
Ride that pine.
Oh, man. As fate would have it, the next day, a couple of guys had left. We had a scrimmage. I scored 22 in the scrimmage and got off the bench. Basically, because my father wasn't going to let me in.
You have no choice but to do that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That mad 22 points, right?
Yo,
I'm going to show you now.
Right, that's exactly what it was.
Oh, you ain't going to let me in?
I'm going to show you now.
Hey, but you see, it's funny, and I think you'll get to appreciate this. My son's 20. Tariq knows him. Miles, I don't think if you know my son or not. My son's 25 now, and sometimes he says to me, Dad, sometime when you whoop my butt, I sure did deserve it. I said, oh.
Yeah, I have a couple of those.
Yeah, he said, I said, really? He said, yeah, I did. So the point is, as you get older and you think about, I think about that instance. My father wouldn't let me come in, and our parents, and they telling you stuff, and you'd be like, please, would you just not say anything and leave me alone? And when you look back on it, you'd be so lucky that you had folks that was in your face trying to give you some direction. And then, and I will tell you, this I found out as a freshman. Something I had taken for granted. I never knew a life without my mother and father. I always had them. So going away to school, and I was with so many people who had a mother or a father, but didn't have a mother and father. And I was like, you know, man, I've been pretty lucky that I had that the whole time. That's not putting anybody else down, but just a realization of my own self that I was pretty lucky that I was able to have both. But it was most enjoyable to get away and be on your own and have that freedom. That is something that it's challenging being able to manage that freedom too. That's a real challenge. Nobody there anymore telling you to get up. Nobody there that says you had to go to school. Nobody there necessarily checking your papers, you know. I mean, even in high school, we had the parent portal. I could go in that parent portal and check and say, oh, wait a minute, how come you didn't turn in your assignment or whatever? And I bet you some of your parents did that too. They would go in that parent portal. I know your mother and father went in that Skyward.
Log in that Skyward.
Yeah. That was in that portal, huh?
I forgot my password.
I don't know.
Oh, you forgot your password.
She gonna put this in tomorrow.
She just about to change that. Everybody felt that test.
This shit right here really aid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Reading,
I'm telling you, and you know, and this is funny. One day, Trevor came home and I said, "Why wasn't you in 7th and 8th period?" He said, "Jesus, Dad, nobody else looks at the parent portal except for you." What can I tell you? I'm your father. That's your bad luck. So, but anyway, all right, well, we're coming to the end of an hour. We got about 2 minutes left. This has been a lot of fun. So I will be looking for you for Thanksgiving break for sure. So you guys will be home for Thanksgiving. And then we'll get you back on. And then I want to hear some really good stories about what happened to you as part of your freshman year. Then I want to know about if you made the team, if you're getting any PT, or riding the, and ain't no shame in riding the pine either.
For a couple years.
Yeah.
Some red shirt. Like that.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. So, do you guys want to say anything to my audience before you check out of here?
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for having me. It was a great time here at
WPSL.
WPSL.
Okay. All right, guys. I'd like to thank you for being my guest. It's been most enjoyable. And I'll be looking for you Thanksgiving time. And we're going to get you back, and we'll talk about how that first semester is gone. And in the meantime, if you guys need to get in touch with me, all of you know how to get in touch with me. Your mom, dad have my phone numbers. But I'd like to thank you, audience. God bless and be safe. And I will see you next Wednesday right here for the African American Scene.
The African American Scene with Rudy Howard is brought to you by Howard Insurance of Port St. Lucie. Tune in every Wednesday evening at the 6 o'clock hour and look for the archives. Look for video archives of this show on WPSLTV.com, which is our YouTube presence. See you in cyberspace. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.